Love letters. Love letters to Laney.
Hey, Valley West Junior High. My name is Ariana, and we are on to our second episode of Love Letters to Laney. We have a few more questions for you, as this will be our Valentine's Day special. Laney, you're the love expert.
I am. Like I said, this is our new Valentine's Day special, so we will have a few more questions than we did last time.
All right. My boyfriend/girlfriend has bad anger issues.
Okay, so this one is really common in middle school just because, everybody's going through so many emotions in middle school and you don't really know what's going on. You're just trying to figure yourself out. So I would say just talk to them about what's going on, and if it gets to the point where it's not fun to date them, just tell them and be like, "Hey, I don't think we should date anymore. It's not fun anymore." And one thing that I don't like is when people say "Oh, if you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself." Because that's a very if they don't mean it and they're doing it just so you stay with them, that's very messed up and that's very wrong and they shouldn't do that. But if you think that they're serious, best thing to do, you don't want to be a tattletale, but in the situation, the best thing to do is go tell a trusted adult and be like, "Hey, I don't want to stay with this person, but they're threatening themselves if I don't." So just make sure that you're doing what's best for you and don't feel obligated to stay with somebody just because they're
And always ask about what they need, but also keep in mind about what you need. Do you need to stay with this person, or would you be better off without them? All right, receiving and giving gifts.
Okay, so this one was kind of unclear because this person just put receiving and giving gifts. So I'm going to try to cover just all around here. So if you're trying to figure out what to get them, I would say talk to their friends, think about their interests. When you talk to them, really pay attention to what they really want to talk about and ask them. I know you want it to be "Oh, it's a surprise and I don't want you to know what I'm getting." But if you don't really know what to get them, it's better to ask them and to get them something that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if they're always giving gifts, don't feel pressured to get them something. And if you're starting to get uncomfortable about it, just tell them, say, "Hey, I love the gifts that you're giving me, but I'm starting to feel pressured to get you something," and it's taking the magic away from giving gifts.
And if you're the person who's constantly giving other people gifts, it's very sweet and it's very it's nice of you to get that person gifts, but also it's a middle school relationship. It's probably not going to last, and it could make the other person feel uncomfortable and obligated to get you a gift. So
my boyfriend/girlfriend is cheating on me, and I don't know how to confront them.
Okay, so this one also happens a lot in middle school, and it's kind of sad because we think that we like this person a lot, and then they end up going off and either trying to kiss or ask out another person, and it's just really sad and heartbreaking. So what I would say is right off the bat, you're dealing with a lot of emotions from I didn't know this person as well as I thought. So just give yourself some time to cool off, whether that be a few hours or maybe even a day, but just give yourself some time to cool off and make sure that you're not super you'll still be angry at them and frustrated, but make sure you're not about to go murder them anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you need to ask them subtly if they're cheating on you. You don't want to go up to them and be like, "Hey, are you cheating on me?" Because then that'll take them off as well.
Yeah,
as
don't
you.
make a scene about it. And ask them in private. Don't ask them in front of everybody. Also, like we've said, do not ask them over text. Call them or talk to them in person about it. Because texting, it doesn't show it doesn't show emotion. It's easier to type out a lie than it is to say a lie. So if you ask somebody in person or on call, they're more likely to say the truth.
Yeah, and if you're starting to suspect that they're talking to someone else, then you need to think about how much you know this person. Do you know them well enough to know that they are not going to cheat on you, or if they are going to cheat on you? And you need to look for the signs that if they're talking to someone else or flirting with someone else.
My advice for this would just be to, if you find out that they are cheating on you, just find your way out of that relationship. Don't make a big scene. Don't make a big deal. You can talk to your friends about it, but don't try to make don't get them involved, and don't get your friends to go like talk crap to that person or talk crap to that person's friends. Like it's so confusing in middle school. We're all just trying to make our way out of it. So give that person some grace, but like I said, you probably don't want to date them again, because somebody who cheats on you once will most likely cheat on you again.
I like a girl, but I don't know how to talk to her without messing up.
Okay, so this one is a good one because a lot of people face this, like boys and girls. Like, how do I talk to a boy? How do I talk to a girl? Okay, so what you're gonna want to do is like, it may seem scary to talk to them, but you're just gonna go up and like ask them a simple question, like be like, "Hey," like just start
Like,
asking
ask them about a math problem.
Ask them, yeah, whatever class you're in with them, whatever. Like, if you know them from a sport, if you know them from church, ask them something that has to do with like. If you know them from church, ask them about church. If you know them from math, ask them about math. And that's like your starting point.
Yeah.
And then like kind of try to pick up on things that they like and just start talking about that. But don't dig yourself into a hole, and don't try to like, if they say, "Oh, I love this movie," and you've never seen it, don't try to be like, "Oh yeah, I love that movie too."
And then they'll start talking about it, and they'll be like, "Remember when this and this happened?" You're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, like who's your favorite character? Anyway, so yeah, just don't dig yourself into a hole, and just like don't be creepy, and try to like pick up on every subtle detail, and like remember every single date that they say and all that stuff. But like, if you really want to get to know them better, it's like good to ask them questions and ask them about themselves.
And don't be like a stalker. Like, don't try to figure out all their class periods and all their like hobbies. I mean, if they tell you, then great. But don't try to be stalker like and try to figure that out.
Don't like watch them in the hallway and be like, "Oh, she's going to history right now, and I know that because I watched her every single day."
And then like jot it down in your notebook.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Okay.
Okay, I need help asking out my crush.
Okay, so asking out your crush can be a little bit difficult because you never know if they really like you or not. But one thing that can really help to make sure that like you have the chance to get to know them first is to not tell your friends. Like when you like somebody, don't immediately go tell your friends, because your friends, especially if your friends are friends with their friends. Like if y'all are kind of in the same friend group and you like the person in your same friend group, don't go tell your other friends, because it's just not smart. So just make sure that you talk to them before, and make sure that you actually know them before you ask them out.
Yeah,
and like
don't ask out a complete stranger.
Yeah, and
like,
it's like
you see like this girl in the hallway, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, she's so cute," and you go up to her and be like, "Hey, you want to go out with me?" That'll be a bit weird.
That would be really weird. Or like if you've only talked to that person like 3 times, and look at their body language and pay attention to that, how they act around you. So yeah. Also like talk to them. Texting does not count. Like texting.
Yeah, and paper doesn't count.
Yes. Paper doesn't count. If you're like writing them notes or texting them or on Snapchat, it doesn't count, because you have to talk to them in person. Because if you don't talk to them in person, there's been so many instances where people are like, "Oh, well, we text all the time and we're super good friends on like texting and Snapchat." And it's like, then they meet in person and they have nothing to talk about. So make sure it's easier to text than to actually talk.
And also, when or if you go on a date, you need to pay attention to their body language. Because if they're leaning away from you, then they probably don't like you. But if they're giving you like subtle hints.
Yeah, just like look for the subtle things, but don't overthink it. Don't try to look for every single detail.
Yeah, because if they say that they need to go to the restroom or get more popcorn halfway through the movie, don't freak out.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Or like if they accidentally move their hands like an inch, like, or if they like scoot it to shift their weight, that's not them like scooting away from you. Probably, just probably. Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
And don't be creepy.
Yeah, don't be creepy. Like we said before, don't be a stalker.
Don't follow them home after the date.
Yeah, don't memorize. Don't be friends with somebody just because they're friends with the person that you like. That's never good. Anyway. Also, our last thing is never ask out anybody over text, over note, over Snapchat. Don't do it. It makes you look bad. Like, just ask them out in person. If you're not brave enough to ask them out in person, you're not ready to date someone. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you need to know, like, or if you're going to break up with them, it's like, well, I sent them a super long paragraph explaining why. No. You're not going to break up with them over text or over Snapchat. It's going to be awkward, but you're going to do it in person.
Yeah, unless there's like you can't see them, then it's best to at least call them or FaceTime.
Yeah, call them or FaceTime. So, yes. Best to do it in person, but if you have to go anywhere else, call them or FaceTime them because it shows them that you actually care. It shows them like, hey.
If it's like over the summer and they're like in Hawaii and you're stuck in Maine.
Yeah. Just like call them, give them a call. Yeah. So for that, this is all that we have for this Valentine's Day special episode. We hope that you liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can give us any feedback. You can just scan the QR code again and tell us if this helped you or not.
Yes. We're gonna start uploading these more regularly. I know that we uploaded our first one and then we took a long break from it, but we were just working on other projects in broadcasting and it got a little hectic. But now that we're in the spring, we have more freedom to do kind of what we want to do. So just make sure that you're looking around, seeing the flyers, scanning the QR codes.
Yeah, if you enjoyed our podcast, be free to give us some more questions, tell your friends.
And we'll have other podcasts besides the Love Letters to Laney coming out soon. There'll be some fun ones, like, I don't know, some of the other groups are doing, but you'll hear some people other than me and Ari. So, yeah. And just thank y'all so much. And remember, it's great to be a wily bulldog.